This is Meltdown Live, presented by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag for double your initial deposit. You sign on to make a deposit, they double it with code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag.
Welcome in here to the Culver studio. We are thrilled to have you with us as we are live here on Meltdown Live daily, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on the channel. If you have not already, we'd appreciate you subscribing so you never miss when we go live. We've got a lot of great movie reviews headed your way over the course of this week. Thanks to not only myself, Mr. Tim Melton, but also my broadcast partner, Mr. Tyler Johns. And Tyler, we have gotten back in the swing of things there at the Cineplex, and we have seen plenty with a lot of content going out throughout the course of this week.
Yes, we have. We went from absolutely nothing to see to too much to see. I actually couldn't get to everything over the weekend, so I've got a couple movies to make up this week.
Yes, we have plenty of time to go to the theater because there's a lot of holdovers, not only from Thanksgiving, there's also things that have had sort of a slower rollout. And then we have a screen unseen tonight, which may lead to one of my most anticipated, which, by the way, if you haven't watched our most anticipated December movies, so many of them come out on Christmas Day,
Oh yeah.
including what could be a screen unseen tonight. I'm hoping it is Baby Girl, but
It
do
may
you,
it
do you
may or may not be.
see that doesn't help me at all?
I can't tell you what it is, Tim, until the movie actually starts. But based on the rating and runtime, the most likely options are Baby Girl, a Lionsgate movie named Dirty Angels,
No thanks.
and Craven the Hunter.
No
No,
thanks.
oh come on, you got to ride out Craven the Hunter. But
Do not want to. Just being completely honest. I don't know who wants to see that. Ever since they butchered that Johnny Cash song in the trailer, I have no interest in seeing Craven the Hunter.
So weird thing about it is I was looking at tickets this weekend because we got Craven the Hunter and Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim.
Right.
They both have one prime showing on Thursday, and that's it. And both are sold out.
Hmm.
It must be a glitch with the app because I just sat there looking at the screen like there's no way
Right.
that an opening night screening of Craven the Hunter
That is correct.
sold out.
0% chance.
There's no chance.
So just stand by on
I
that.
don't even believe that War of the Rohirrim sold out.
I don't either. So
I mean, given that it's an anime based on Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
niche audience there.
I think you were one of the first to update your ticketing app to the point where it ices you out because the computer is not even caught up to know what tickets are on sale with how much you are zoned in with trying to get your seat there. So I have confidence you'll have success getting into both of those films.
I hope so.
We have EG here with us as well.
Hello.
EG, thank you for always making time for us here as a contributor to the show.
I wouldn't miss
And
it.
let's talk a little bit about your weekend because you went to the hellscape that is Atlanta, Georgia.
Starting off strong.
We talked about this the last time that you were in studio with us.
Yep.
We talked about how Atlanta is a difficult city for me personally to traverse. I find it to be frustrating, everyone going 100 miles an hour and really having no regard for humanity along the way. Do you have any sort of traffic issues on the way there? Because that's where you feel most at home.
I did not. Pretty smooth for me. The only traffic I got in, weirdly enough, was trying to get on I-20 from Birmingham.
Mm,
That was it.
shocker.
I
That
know.
was the only issue you had
That
was
was the only
Birmingham traffic.
issue. Yeah.
Well, if you missed our conversation on horrible traffic patterns and why the city of Atlanta has some good and some bad along with it, I think it was a very healthy conversation.
It was. And I would encourage everyone to go check out that video because I think that you'll find that you agree with a few of our points. Maybe all
Yes,
of them.
definitely. Let me tell you some conversation that I think has not been necessarily healthy. Maybe you disagree, but
Okay.
the college football playoff selection
Oh.
committee made their choices. The announcement was made live yesterday. I was in a box at the Titans game, which sounds like it's
Glamorous.
sounds very glamorous, except for the product on
Are
the
you
field.
Jason Kelsey?
I am not
How
Jason
many
Kelce.
times did you get mistaken? Did you actually get mistaken for him?
1000%.
By who?
So I was on Broadway Saturday night, and I was being mistaken by a group out of Ohio
No
that
way.
came up, and they acted like they knew me, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And they like, "Man, do you look just like Jason Kelsey? Because I thought it was you, man. I thought it was you,
You
Jason."
should have totally, like, played into it.
I don't think I look like Jason
It
Kelsey.
would have
Did
been
you have your
great if they
haircut?
had
Yes, I had my haircut.
if they had been like, "Oh, I'm such a huge fan of your podcast,"
Yeah.
and they're talking about the
That
one
would've
of
been
him and his brother.
hilarious.
Yeah, no, they're like, you got to get that all the time, right? Well, I was fresh off the cut here, which I will show for the world, so that way
Yeah, let's debut it.
it's I don't know if it's
Were you wearing a hat when this
I
happened?
was not wearing a hat.
Okay.
No, but
I mean, y'all
same
have the
hairstyle.
same haircut right now.
I had no idea. Yeah, that's very similar.
Very similar.
Very similar hairstyle.
Can
That
we
is
like
the same
can
haircut,
they
yeah.
see that
like-
on there?
Dude, you look just like Jason Kelsey. But anyway, I am not Jason Kelsey, and that's why Tyler made the reference there, because that was a surprising thing for me this weekend. I wasn't expecting that, and I had people coming up to me all night. You guys don't realize when you are near 7 foot tall,
Yeah.
the amount of people that want to strike up conversations with you. And one day I'm going to have you with me in a public setting and we're going to go out and there's going to be people coming up the whole time and they're going to be trying to talk to me about it. And I'm going to say, see, and you guys are going to be like, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, I believe it.
Well,
Like-
you're the first person people see when they walk into a room.
That is, if I'm standing, that is typically correct. I got something in my mouth. It's not a beard hair this time. I believe it's some Chinese food, which by the way, Fine-Tuned Fortunes
Coming to ya.
makes its return today, and we are going to have that. We may have enough for 2 days straight.
I
We're
think
getting
I
there.
think we do. We got a big old pile over there.
We're getting there. What we may do is today we're just going to do the 3 of us.
And then tomorrow do chat.
No,
Oh,
tomorrow we are going to have a special guest on the Meltdown.
who?
The one and only Jim Dunaway
My gosh.
is going to be here with us tomorrow, and I think we do a fortune for him too.
Absolutely.
So 2 days of
We have to.
Fine-Tuned Fortune.
Oh, thank goodness.
And we'll probably need to do his either first or last because I feel like it's going to be a
Agreed.
lengthy discussion because he's going to
Agreed.
be paranoid, I think, about that. But you spent the weekend in Atlanta with the TNR crew there covering the game. When I was in the Titans box area, there's TVs in there. That's the reason I bring it up more than anything. It was a very nice experience other than the game on the field. I am a Titans fan, and the product on the field is not good right now. We hopefully helped secured ourselves a better draft position, but we could not score a touchdown,
Yikes.
and that was a problem. So no touchdowns there for the Titans yesterday in what was my first ever Titans game going and seeing them in person.
Really? That surprises me.
First ever Titans game seeing them in person, and I'm still waiting for my first Titans touchdown because there was a touchdown call, but it got called back.
Of
So that
course.
was kind of upsetting because that was like my first Titans touchdown. Anyway, the college football selection committee show is on.
Mm-hmm.
And when it popped up with the SMU logo, it was all on mute. When it popped up with the SMU logo, the entire box
Cheered or
cheered.
groaned?
Cheered.
Cheered. All Tennessee fans, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Volunteers.
A lot of Tennessee Volunteer fans that are very happy that they're in the playoff.
And Bama's not.
And they're also very happy. They were equally as happy that Alabama was not. We had one guy up there the entire time that was yelling "High Tide" the entire time, which is based off of the commercial that's on. where,
Oh,
like, the players are
yeah.
getting off the bus.
High tide, high tide.
And he's like, "High tide, high tide." And then somebody's like, "It's roll tide." And then it's like, "Oh, yeah, okay." They were
That
awful,
kind of sounds miserable.
awful commercial. But yes, it was electric with Alabama hate up there. And I could only think to myself when I saw that, wow, this really changes up some plans for EG and the TNR
Mhm.
crew and everybody. What was your reaction? Did the committee get it right? Talk
Okay.
to me, EG.
I will
Let's get it all out
tell you.
there.
So, a few things. Let's start with one thing that you guys may not be aware of. It actually got leaked, the information.
Really?
Yes. And
I
it
was out of the bubble. I was
It was leaked on Twitter by Brett McMurphy, who is a very credible source. So when he's reporting on it, typically you can assume that it is legit. And so that was at
Is this the first time this sort of thing has happened?
yes. And
Okay.
when it comes to the committee and Ryan Brown tweeted out, it's usually very buttoned up. That you don't get any leaks from that group. And there hasn't been in the history of it. And I want to say it was like the show started at 12 Eastern and at 11:59, basically a minute before the show even starts, and ESPN is adamant that they do not know the results. They learn with the country. The only person that knows the results are Zach in graphics because he's the one who makes the graphic.
Does he still have a job?
Obviously, that's not true. I mean, I guess so. Now, obviously, that's not true. Apparently, and let me pull up the tweet so I can just be exact. All that to say, I had the tip off before the show even started that Alabama was not making it, which kind of is disappointing in the sense of the selection show. There's a lot of anticipation, especially for me covering Alabama, and I've enjoyed it so much covering both Alabama and Auburn. And obviously, this season, Alabama had a chance to extend their season with a new 12-team playoff format. And so it was, disappointing not to have the thrill of waiting for the selection show to play out. But here it is.
I mean, that's a crazy scoop to get in on, but that really ruins the show.
It does. It does.
Like, you can't pass up on that, obviously, but
Well,
that does ruin the show.
here's why I'll say it doesn't ruin the show. Because I think a lot of people wanted to watch the show still to compare whether or not the information was going to be legitimate.
Yes, but I will say though, it with him and
Right.
once Vegas pulled all the lines, it was like, oh,
Right.
it was a little deflating. So he said this was at 10:59 Central, 11:59 Eastern. Breaking: SMU's in college football playoff and Alabama's out. Sources told Action Network HQ. So Action Network HQ is a sports betting entity.
Mhm.
So then it was like, well, dang, Vegas just runs college football. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. Vegas has had their way with it, and now it all goes back to them. I think you can make an argument both ways. I do think that, selfishly, as someone who covers Alabama, obviously I want Alabama in the playoffs. That means that for us as a company and show that we obviously profit off of that, and we enjoy giving that information to fans. When you look at what the committee decided, one thing that sticks out to me was, the strength of schedule line. And if you go back and listen, you have to take everything that they say with a grain of salt because they contradict themselves 8 ways to Sunday. Now, they were in a tough situation either way. And it wasn't necessarily their fault that they were in a tough situation. It wasn't that they weren't trying to make the best decision. The format of the college football playoffs lends itself to have that result. You're not going to get anything that is clean cut because you have auto bids with the conference championships, which makes zero sense because not all conferences are created equal. And that's coming from a group of 5 graduate. So, I don't know. I think that right now South Carolina is probably sitting there saying, "Why are we not in this?" I think Ole Miss has that argument, and I do think Alabama has that argument.
This is a case where a year ago there would have been no argument possible for
No.
Alabama to make the college football playoff.
No.
However, with it expanded to 12, there's always going to be that 13th team now that's like,
Yes.
we deserve our shot.
Right.
It is amazing how quickly a year changes. Last year, we had a undefeated team left out of the college football
Exactly.
playoff in a Power 5 conference in Florida State. And I would have loved to have seen a 12-team playoff last year. I really would
Yeah.
have, because it would have cut down a lot of the chaos. And
Yeah.
a lot of people promise this as being a solution to where the chaos will be cut down. And here we are
It's
again,
just
where it's never, no matter how much you expand it, there's always going to be teams with gripes.
We should expand it to the same amount of teams as in the March Madness. That would really cut
Tyler.
down chaos if
Yeah.
expanding it to 12 cuts down.
With play-in games too.
Yes,
We'll
we'll
be
play in tournaments
working.
as always.
We'll be having March football. I don't know. It's interesting, and I think that there's an argument for so many different teams. The fact that Clemson is ranked 16 in the country and is in the college football playoffs. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's that. Winning your conference sort of
Exactly.
extra
Now,
help.
let me also clarify. Alabama should not have lost to OU, should not have lost to Vanderbilt. They did it to themselves. This is not me, trying to say Alabama deserves it. No, 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 no. You take care of your business. However, when you do look at some other decisions the committee makes, it calls into question some of those SEC teams that got left out.
It goes to what we've been talking about all year. Alabama's had some really quality wins.
Yes.
And they've had some really bad losses.
Mm-hmm.
Head scratchingly bad. Like, how is this happening?
Yeah.
Sort of loss. Like, is there a culture
Mm-hmm.
problem? Is it, like major, big, lingering
Inconsistencies.
questions
Yeah.
that the fan base itself, not even those outside the fan base itself has had about this year's team. And, it is unfortunate for our end that we're not going to be able to provide more coverage
Right.
college football playoff perspective with covering that team directly, but we will see put out as a product for the bowl game, because
Yeah.
I,
That was a weird draw,
it
too.
was.
Very strange on that one.
Yeah.
But
So
Did you guys see Birmingham Bowl lineup?
yeah, Vandy, Georgia Tech.
Yep.
That honestly has the potential to be one of the best games of the bowl season.
yeah, Vandy is a fun team to watch.
And Georgia Tech is too.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but I just hope that they get their gold in order of who's going to be wearing the most gold on the
Oh,
field.
that's so true. I didn't think about that.
Can you give me a gold member gold voice here, Tyler? It's one of your favorite Austin Powers movies, if not your favorite Austin Powers movie.
Let's see. Let me.
Gold!
I love gold.
Yours is so much better. Yours
Wow.
was so much better. That was really good. Okay, so the SEC championship game was very exciting.
It was.
Overtime game.
Yep.
And I mean, without a real dog in the fight, no pun intended there, EG.
No, literally.
It was a lot of fun.
It was because so I guess I should also clarify what we were up to. It was me, Dunaway, and Brown, and we went down Thursday night, went over to the fanfare event
Mhm.
every year. You guys have seen it, Dr. Pepper Fanfare. It's a really cool setup. It's in the Georgia World Congress Center. It's literally like in the basement and not in a dingy way. It just takes you 4 escalators to go down. So it is quite you're not going to accidentally stumble into fanfare. I'll say that. But Friday and Saturday, we actually had the opportunity to interview on stage of SEC Fanfare, SEC Legend inductees, along with some other former players. So it was everyone from Vince Young, Texas. I mean, crazy that he's being inducted to the SEC Hall of Fame. Terrence Edwards, Eric Berry, really cool and prominent SEC players from across, all different colleges. And so we were interviewing them, getting a little backstory, and then I hosted the Dr. Pepper quarterback challenge at Fanfare with little kids, trying to do the halftime event.
Uh-huh.
And
It was a train wreck. Just admit it was a train wreck.
They were really confident going into it, and none of them made one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, none of them made one?
No.
Did anybody do the chest pass? That's my least favorite thing about that competition. You throw it like a real quarterback.
Yeah.
Don't chest pass it in there.
And especially when a guy does it, it's like, ooh. How do they select those people? Do we know?
I don't know. I think there's just,
About like a lottery of some sort, I'm sure.
I don't think it's a lottery. I think that it's actually like
On site?
no, I think that everyone who wants a chance at it ends up putting their name in, and then they look at maybe the qualifications of who they'd like representing the winning side of this, and they try to maybe pick 2 people of somewhat equal skill level and make it fascinating. But those are always interesting, the Dr. Pepper halftime tosses there. All right, let's get into from the top of the college football world to the top of the box office. Number 1 movie in America remains Moana 2. Continues to do really well, breaking another Frozen 2 record of highest grossing movie after the week of Thanksgiving, and that is Moana 2, as it has added $52 million more, bringing its domestic total to $300 million. It's already surpassed the original with its global tally at a staggering $600 million. People may be wondering, wow, is Moana 2 really that great? No, not
No.
really.
Really?
No.
It's just kind
No.
of standard Disney movie. Nothing special about it.
It's a well-known IP, which is why it's killing, because the first Moana was really great.
It was.
It was watched by everybody and their kid on Disney Plus for years, becoming the most streamed thing in the history of Disney Plus. And then when Moana 2 comes out, everybody's like, oh, well, we got to go see that because we've watched Moana 1,000 times at home.
Yep.
And that is the benefit of Moana 2. They were going to make Moana 2 a straight to streaming event with like a series, and they ended up condensing it into a movie. And I know that the songwriter for the movie has been getting some flack over not having really that memorable of music. I honestly can't remember a single song in the movie.
Moana songs are like in my head a lot.
You can thank Lin-Manuel Miranda for that.
And he's not the songwriter on this
He's
one?
not the songwriter on this one. I think he went to Mufasa for the Barry Jenkins Mufasa movie. So he had to pick one of the 2 projects. And he's probably thinking to himself, how do I get better than what I already did in Moana? Why would I do that to myself? So let me go someplace new. And this woman's like, well, just wait until like it starts streaming and then everyone will be singing these songs. I don't think the songs are very memorable in Moana 2.
I'm still trying to think of a song.
Yeah,
There was the something about getting lost.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think during that point, kids in there were sneezing and coughing.
Oh,
and
the kid cough, it sounds like.
Yeah. Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's
It was a bad one. Wicked remains there in the second spot, $34.9 million, brings its domestic total up to $320 million in 3 weeks. Globally, the movie's at $455.6 million. Is this one going to make it to $1 billion? Doesn't seem that
We
way.
thought we were confident.
I was more confident that it was going to get closer, and it's still got legs. Don't get me wrong, it's still going to continue to generate money, but I think the hype of Wicked is starting to die down enough to where it's not going to have the legs needed to hit that billion-dollar club. Moana 2 is already at 600 million, and it continues to resonate. And so I wouldn't be shocked if it is our third billion-dollar movie of the year. All three of those would belong to Disney if that was the case.
But then Disney must be happy after the lackluster showing they've had for the last couple of years.
Disney's very happy right now with
Will they
Moana
break
2.
even on that though? With how much money they've lost?
Oh, no, they're going to be profitable.
They're going to be fine.
Yeah, they'll be profitable
Eh.
on what they put out and what they're bringing in. And Disney has a very diverse portfolio, and that they have a lot of the only real thing right now that Disney's not profitable in is
Streaming?
ESPN.
Oh, golly, don't tell that to me.
Well, I'm sorry, but
It's okay.
they're going to bundle. They've announced they're going to bundle ESPN into Disney Plus now to
So
try
you'll
to.
get
Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN.
Wait, so if I have an ESPN Plus account, I'm going to get Disney Plus now?
Well, let
And
me say
Hulu?
this. I think it's the opposite. So I think if you have a Disney Plus account, they're going to rope in ESPN to that. I'm not talking about they're bundling it like they have been, Tyler. This is a new thing where they're going to add an ESPN Plus tab to Disney Plus now.
Gotcha.
That's part of their new strategy.
That to me, that really does not make a lot of sense, actually, at all, because that's two very different audiences, target audiences. Disney catalog and then ESPN in the corner. I can't imagine there's gonna be a lot of
It's all about subscriber growth. And if they can get everybody under one umbrella, then every brand is a winner if it's all under one umbrella, compared to one thing sticking out like a sore
That's
thumb,
true.
which is ESPN being the thing that's kind of holding back a lot of the profitability discussion. So,
Yikes.
and who knows, it probably brings a whole lot of new subscribers to the Disney Plus platform, because people are like, well, if this is the only way I can get ESPN Plus. So we'll see what they do with that and how exclusive they make it to Disney Plus. But I know that they're integrating ESPN directly into Disney now, Disney Plus. Gladiator 2 comes in the third spot there, 12.5 million. Red One, 7 million in fourth place. Hushpa the Rule, Part 2.
So
What?
I've actually got that one at fourth place on my list.
What is
I've
it?
got it at fifth with
Okay.
4.9 million. But
I've got it at 9.3 million over the weekend. But either way,
okay.
it's right around there.
Interstellar with 4.4 million. It's a re-release. This was only showing in 165 theaters across the country, and it made more than Y2K and The Order combined this weekend.
Dang.
Yeah. Those Interstellar re-release tickets are reselling for hundreds of dollars because there's only a select amount of theaters that they're showing it at. Nowhere here in Alabama. Did you happen to go see Interstellar while you were in Nashville?
I did not.
Oh, it was playing there.
Interstellar's not one of my favorite Nolan films.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have this big necessity to have to see it on the big screen.
I don't know. Interstellar, I've seen it, but the only thing I think about is like that guy's planet where it's like
Well,
only a year has gone by there or something.
you know who's the star of Interstellar? Right off the top of your head, maybe?
Dennis Quaid.
No, that is incorrect. My gosh. EG. EG.
They kind
I-
of got the same shape face.
No, it's somebody you were hanging out with this weekend.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, you were hanging out with McConaughey over the
I
weekend?
was, Lionel. I was.
Texas and Georgia were playing in the SEC championship game, and then
This was him
yeah,
the whole time. I don't know if they can see me.
yeah.
He's an actor, that's for sure.
I don't even know what that means.
Like, okay, then let me explain if we have time.
We
have
do.
time? So this is my second encounter with Matthew McConaughey.
All right, brag about it then.
I know, I will.
All right, all right, all right.
All right. And so he's making his way to the sidelines, and this man has bench credential, which means that he gets to stay on the Texas bench throughout the duration of the game. And that's hard to get. Like, you don't, that's just not an easy thing to snag. He apparently is also technically on staff with Texas football. as Commissioner of Culture. Learned that.
Mm.
And then also, we were asking Vince Young about him, and he is very involved with the program. And per Vince Young, he knows his stuff. Like, he could actually coach if he wanted to. Not my words, Mr. Young's. With that being said, he makes his way down, and like, of course, he like goes right to like where Quinn and Arch are like warming up and like, like doing like the whole like flapping thing, and like he knows everyone is watching him, and like the production right before he went on the set of like making sure that everyone saw him go over to Arch and Quinn, like the horns, little like I don't know. It just is like, wow, you are
He's
something.
putting on a
He
show.
puts on a show.
I got you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a write-up about Matthew McConaughey about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, talking about him prior to moving to Texas. He and his wife, who wed in 2012, were living in Malibu, California. And once there, he told his wife that he would only go back to California if he's offered roles he wanted to do. At the time, he had become a household name after starring in a series of successful rom-coms.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is correct. The Wedding Planner,
Mm-hmm.
Failure to Launch,
Mm-hmm.
and Fool's Gold
Never saw Fool's Gold.
was also one. He said, that was my lane, and I liked that lane. That lane paid well, and it was working. The lane was, I was so strong in that lane that anything outside of that lane, dramas and stuff that I wanted to do, Hollywood was like, no, 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 McConaughey. Hollywood said, no, 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 you should stay there, stay there. And then he went on to star in Dallas Buyers Club, and that
Yeah.
really changed the
Was he in
perception.
The Gentleman?
I don't think he was in The Gentleman.
Mm.
I may be wrong about that, but I don't think he was in The Gentleman. Um, by the way, Dallas Buyers Club was a role that earned him an Oscar, but it only paid him 200 grand for that film.
Wait.
He was in The Gentleman as the character Mickey Pearson.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Now you know.
That is kind of crazy. Do we realize what just happened?
Yeah, Tim,
Yes.
you shut her down real
No,
quick.
no, it wasn't
I'm
even
sorry.
that.
No,
but
no, no. I thought The Gentleman was maybe something else.
no, but I just like want to acknowledge that y'all are rubbing off on me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think you should just take the win.
I'm taking the win.
Yeah, you don't have to have us take any sort of credit for your greatness.
I'll take some credit.
There you
Oh,
go.
Okay.
Okay. Um, did anybody ever see the movie Mud that
No.
he was in?
Nope.
Actually thought it was a pretty good movie that he did there, but Interstellar making waves yet again with this re-release that everyone's losing their mind over. And once again, kind of depressing though that it made more than Y2K and The Order combined, which are two of the newer movies that came out this weekend. And we have our Y2K spoiler review up there. I thought it was a little bit too heavy on the nostalgia in its script and didn't deliver as much of the goods, but we have a lot of things in that review that are opinions we share and some things that we don't, Tyler. And I hope everybody checks it out.
Yeah, I hope everybody checks out the review, and I hope everybody checks out the movie. It's a fun time. Just that's it. Man, you told me to go see that werewolf movie.
Now that was a fun time.
Oh my gosh, it was something.
It was the best bad movie of the year. And it's not a good, if you go in with the expectation that this is going to be super quality, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in with like, this is bad, but I'm going to eat it up like a
Night
werewolf would.
Swim, I think, did that for me.
Did it? Did it really?
Yeah, it's objectively awful, but there's something wacky about
Had fun in it?
this dude going like this pool will bring me
Yeah.
back to my former baseball glory,
Mhm.
and he gets obsessed by the pool and it possesses him.
So how was the like costuming of Y2K? Did it actually take you back, or was it like this feels?
Close enough.
I've heard that it was pretty bad on my channels.
The costuming?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly,
I mean, they weren't like hitting every like fashion trend of Y2K.
yeah.
But
For me, it didn't stand out as a positive or a negative. It was just sort of a part
There.
of the makeup of the movie. Yeah. I do think like they reference way too many things in the movie though, where it's
that
like
make
overload.
it makes it be like, okay, we know it's Y2K.
It's like, oh, we're walking down the street. Let's start talking about something that's clearly from the 1999 era
Yeah.
in random conversation. But that's what the movie is. You just have to kind of give it what it is. But I think it could have been so much better And I think it was probably an idea that started off really strong and just got more
Fizzled.
and more diluted as the creative process went along. And I think you see that in the final product. But that's just my opinion. Some people are absolutely loving it. And then there's other people who are very disappointed. It's very split on Rotten Tomatoes.
I do think it's too fast paced.
Yeah.
Like they go through like all of those coming of age tropes that you see in those movies really fast, and I would have liked a little more of a slow burn.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
It's a parody movie, essentially.
it is the tone is strange
It's a very strange.
because it's a movie that's very much wink and nod
Mm-hmm.
while also having real things happen to the characters on screen. And you don't know whether you're in on the joke or whether or not you should follow along with the characters and their emotional development with the film. It's a weird tone, but there we have it with Y2K. Hey, we want to remind you to reach out to the best dental practice in town, the one that we trust most, located on Grants Mill Road. Dr. Jeff, Dr. Brian, Dr. Nolan. Over at Alabama Dental Associates, they provide all sorts of services when it comes to staying on top of your dental health. If you're new in town and need to find that perfect dentist on standby, reach out and try Alabama Dental Associates for yourself, as they're accepting new patients now and can help you feel at ease about all of your upcoming dental procedures. I had tremendous anxiety about going to the dentist. I found Alabama Dental, and I've been happy ever since. You should be a patient like I am. For more information or to make an appointment, call them at 205-956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com, where they look forward to seeing you. All right, Tyler, what you got with a chat check-in here on this live Monday edition of the Meltdown?
Oh, we got some comments on your hair. Everybody's saying
Oh.
it's looking really fresh.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Except for Boomer, he does want to know if your groomer cuts poodles too. So he's taking a shot this afternoon. Let's see here. He also wants to know how is Red 1 in the rankings, and that is because it's a family movie,
Well,
and those are just gonna make money.
I'm seeing sources like you were saying where it has Red 1 in the 5th place sometimes and Red 1 in the 4th place sometimes. So some mix-up. International films can be tough sometimes to get a real studio assessment on, a real studio estimate. And I think we're seeing that in the reporting discrepancies we're seeing. So who knows what the actual reporting is there on that movie
Yeah.
that I named earlier that I can't remember.
I do think it's worth noting that I believe it's a Pushpa part 2 uh has been absolutely packed every time I've gone to the local theater. They typically play a lot of those movies way later at night on a like very specific theater. I feel like it's always the same theater that they play these in. And yeah, you'll see the biggest crowd of people going in and out of those.
Let's see here. Hunter in the chat as well. EG is the one that gave Timothy Chalamet his notes for
I was
game.
about to get to that. Yeah.
That's funny. Thank you, Hunter. That's kind.
Timothy Chalamet really impressed some
He
people
really did.
with his football knowledge, and he's getting a lot of awards hype for playing Bob Dylan in the upcoming movie
Yeah.
A Complete Unknown, right? A Complete Unknown.
Yep.
And we are planning right now, we're in the early stages
We are.
of our next Meltdown at the Movies, where we all sort of gather up and go, and Boomer sits in the back and goes, "Ah!" Yours are better. All your impressions today are better than mine, and it's actually causing me a lot of pain internally.
Well, thank you. Normally, I
Yeah.
feel like I'm not good at impressions and voices.
So
I
far,
appreciate the kind words today.
Today you're pitching a perfect game,
Oh, well, I love it.
and you're upstaging me in every way, and that's fine. But I've got to get better on my end. Ever
Yeah.
since the haircut, I'm now a new man. I'm a complete unknown. We are planning on Meltdown at the Movies, where we are going to have Spud go see this Bob Dylan movie. He's obsessed with 60s music. So he's going to be our Bob Dylan expert in this, and we are going to have a review for you. It's all coming out at the end of the month / early in 2025. So stay tuned for that, and we look forward to checking out that movie. And then what Nick says, Matthew McConaughey also teaches a class at Texas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, film
He
class, I believe.
does.
Well, there we have it.
He's very invested.
Okay.
I looked into going to
Hey,
UT
real
Austin.
quick.
That place is expensive.
On the topic of Matthew McConaughey, his daughter or son played flag football with my cousins that live in Austin. And he'd actually show up to the games, and all the moms obviously loved it. My aunt did.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is very, very cool. He
Mhm.
seems to be very hands-on with anything
He really-
athletics
yeah.
and football But I've been reading his book, Green Lights, here.
It's really good.
It is really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend it if you're looking for a gift for somebody
Yeah. And
who maybe had a hairstyle that looked like mine and looked like they had lost their way.
Green
Green
Lights.
Lights.
Yeah.
Works
And
well.
it's a great kind of holiday curl up with it cozy book.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Okay,
Also,
let's.
what Matthew McConaughey sees when he's driving his Lincoln.
That is correct. Worth. Once again, you're on you're on so much fire today, Tyler, that it's making me feel emasculated a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how on fire Tyler is today. So I'm going to throw some Golden Globe award nomination stuff at you, and you give me your takes. Okay, Tyler, are you ready?
All right, let's go.
E.g., you as well.
Yeah, I'll chime in when I can.
Yes, thank you. Amelia Perez.
Wait, that's a weird one.
That's the weird one.
Chimed in already.
Thank you. It
And DG's cancels.
it led in total nominations for movies, Amelia Perez, and I couldn't get through it on Netflix. Has anybody in the chat seen Amelia Perez on Netflix?
Wait, it led in total nominations across the board.
In total nominations across the board in the film section of the
Oh.
Golden Globes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I want to start this whole thing by saying the Golden Globes is an absolute farce of an award show. There are people that believe that the Golden Globes and the Oscars are on the same level. Those people are what we call idiots because that is not they're in different stratospheres, right? One is like Kiwi football and the other is like the Super Bowl, okay? Of like importance. The Golden Globes is just simply a great television show that people tune in to watch. The awards are a joke. It's decided upon by the Hollywood Foreign Press, which is a couple people who can be bought and sold, and they get wined and dined, and it has no type of influence on the Oscar voting and the Academy Award that's handed out a couple months later. So I say all that to say, take all of this with a grain of salt, that this is the stuff that was nominated and this is the stuff that we saw. But the Golden Globes loved themselves some Amelia Perez, as the movie had 10 nominations, including for its 3 stars. The Bear had the most nominations across the television category with 5, followed by Shogun and Only Murders in the Building with 4 each. Tyler, will you watch Amelia Perez or try to watch Amelia Perez for the award season that's coming up? Or is that one of those where you're drawing a line? On Netflix, it is a musical where a cartel boss wants to transition into a woman, and a lawyer is trying to help him accomplish this, and they break out into song with a bunch of background singers and dancers in certain moments where it's the music is painful to listen to. I feel like, is this a film you will be checking out on Netflix before award season really ratchets up, so that way you can have an opinion on it, or are you sitting this one out?
I mean, you didn't even finish it. You can't even have an opinion on it, so I'll skip it.
You're skipping it altogether?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those movies where, like, so you guys had to drag me kicking and screaming to Wicked. Not quite that far. I'm exaggerating, but
Yes.
I didn't want to go.
We had to basically, I mean, you say drag you kicking and screaming. If we had done that, you would have been there on time, first and foremost.
That's true.
Agreed.
Secondly,
You had your pink drink.
what I will say is we encouraged you to participate, and you did, and I give you a gold star for that, sir. So thank you so much for making that night much more enjoyable than it could have been because you did not want to be there.
Yes, I did not want to be there. So, and even that, it had to take me making these caveats and looking at it in a very certain way
Right.
to give it what I would call a fair shake at the review. Because if we're going based on personal enjoyment,
Right.
That's a 1-star movie, one and
Right.
a half.
Right. The ceiling is low for you on something like that.
Exactly. But that was so technically well done, I can't sit there and honestly give it a 1.5 and, go on camera and say that it's a 1.5-star movie. So, I had to rate it more honestly. But if you're gonna make me read a musical,
Yeah, it is in subtitles too.
that's just beyond
Well,
the work I'm willing to do.
okay. So you are making it
Out.
clear you're out on Amelia Perez.
Nope, not unless you are desperately trying to make an individual review on Amelia
No,
Perez.
we'll be should be doing scattered non-spoiler reviews on the live show because I don't know if I can sit through the second half of it. I really went
Okay.
in not knowing what it was. I went in not knowing what it was. And I'm telling you what it is, and you're like, well, I'm much a harder out now that it's, not on Netflix. You would have accidentally stumbled into this though had it been released in theaters.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, there was almost a musical with Tilda Swinton that I went to see. It
Yeah.
was one of the choices for a screen unseen. It fit in the category as well as Gladiator 2. Thank God it was Gladiator 2.
Congratulations, Tyler. Let's talk about the show itself. Hosting duties this year will go to Nikki Glazer, who you might know
I know who that
most
is.
from the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah. Blonde.
She's a roast comic,
Mhm.
and I think she's very funny as long as you're okay with like her being very offensive. If you're into roast comics, Nikki Glazer is right there towards the top right now of those that are working in that segment of the industry. She's going to be hosting the 82nd annual Golden Globe Awards. This time, the show will be taking place on CBS. I don't know if this is the second year CBS has had it or if it's the first year CBS has had it, but it used to be an NBC staple, and now it is on CBS. I want to say it's maybe the second year, but I'm still trying to get over the host that they had last year for the Golden Globes, who was so awful, and I can't remember his name, but it was really bad. At one point, he threw his writers under the bus because he was delivering
Oh,
jokes that were
no.
bombing. And then he was like, guys, don't blame me. I learned that I was doing this just like a few weeks
Joe
ago.
Coy?
Joe Coy. Oh,
Interesting.
it was making me sweat how bad he was bombing on stage. And he decided to then turn venomous on the people who had written the jokes. It was really bad. But I think Nikki Glazer will do a good job here. It's
Okay.
going to be a little bit more of a Ricky Gervais style
Yeah.
presentation where Hollywood is going to get
A little
absolutely roasted.
squirmy, if you will.
This is what Nikki Glazer had to say. Quote, "The Golden Globes is not only a huge night for TV and film, but also for comedy. It's one of the few times that show business not only allows but encourages itself to be lovingly mocked. At least I hope so. God, I hope so." That was the statement. So I'm actually really a big fan of the announcement of Nikki Glazer hosting this because
I
I
do
think it's going to be very uncomfortable for a lot of the people in the room, which provides a lot of excitement and enjoyment for those who are watching at home. So I hope that Nikki Glazer does a great job.
So y'all will both be tuned in.
Oh, we have to be
Okay.
for us to be able to have the conversation we need to have. I'm not forcing Tyler to watch anything this year when it comes to like Amelia Perez or anything like that, but needs to watch the Golden Globes because it is going to be something we're talking about a lot the next day.
Can you clarify the difference of Oscars and Golden Globes?
I will not do it again. I've done it once this show.
You have?
Yeah, you were on your phone, and I'm not going to go through it
Well, I know it's
again.
like the Super Bowl compared to Pee Wee football, but like, what is like the award?
Once again, one is decided by the Hollywood Foreign Press, who can be sort of bought and sold. Like,
Manipulated.
I'll put it in your
Yes,
terms.
thank you. That's all I was asking for.
I understand, but I wish you would have caught that look. She knows when she's not on camera. Okay. Um, one is determined by a playoff selection committee,
Okay.
and one is determined by the results on the field. And it feels very much like the Academy Awards is determined by those in the industry, who very select group of people who work in the industry
Mhm.
that know what is great, and they select the Academy Award. And the Golden Globes are selected by a group of people that you can take out to restaurants and hang out with and
Wine and
say
dine.
wine and
Yeah.
dine and sort of earn. It's more political, a little bit
Or
more
threaten
political.
with a tweet.
Or threaten with a tweet. That is correct. So it's not as tip top of an organization. And a lot of times the people who are judging the Golden Globes haven't really seen a lot of stuff. They haven't even seen everything. They're just basically
Oh,
there for the accolades.
kind of like Heisman voters.
I guess, yeah, maybe a little bit like that. All right. This is a category that stuck out to me. And Tyler, I need your take on this. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy.
Oh.
Okay. Here's one I was happy about in this category being nominated. Jesse Eisenberg in A Real Pain was nominated for this. Now, is it a musical or a comedy? You could somewhat see comedy, right? I mean, it's a road trip,
Somewhat.
but it's really more dramatic. But they have to put movies in here, so that one. I'm not like, okay, I'm not too upset. And I like that Jesse Eisenberg got nominated. I hope that like when I walked out of A Real Pain, which is probably the Oscar movie right now that I like the most on the year, that's going to be in the Oscar conversation. I was blown away by Jesse Eisenberg in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, Kieran Culkin is getting all the acclaim. He's also nominated in the supporting category. But Jesse Eisenberg was the one that blew me away. And I was like, how are people not like losing their mind over Jesse Eisenberg's performance in this? I thought he was incredible playing sort of the straight man.
I mean, we both were. There's
Yeah.
just a couple of great moments where he's, you know, just shouldering every burden he can
Yeah.
until he just can't anymore.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most powerful bits of film I've seen this year.
I thought it was a strong, strong movie. We got our review up for you. This is the one that really stood out to me. Once again, best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy. Hugh Grant in Heretic.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That is neither musical nor a comedy.
Definitely not either,
Yeah,
right?
not even close.
Now, I like that Hugh Grant got nominated,
Yeah, that's cool.
right? My problem's not the performance because I think Hugh Grant is that movie.
Yes,
It
Category.
works with him. But the category of musical or comedy,
it's a horror movie.
it's definitely a horror movie. I don't know. It's not even a dark comedy. It's not.
No, there's no comedy.
Isn't it kind of irreverent too? Like it's like that was the horror church one.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah. That's the one where you have the two young door-to-door worshipers that are looking to try to convince Hugh Grant to join the cause, and Hugh Grant sort of starts to spin things on them. And next thing you know, it turns into a House of Horrors type movie. And we both like it. We wanted to love it. We felt like maybe it ran out of steam. I think we both agree in our review there that's up. But and the sole Saturday night nomination, there was not. Saturday night was pretty much snubbed across the board, minus
Wow.
Gabriel LaBelle, who was nominated for Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy, who I believe plays Lorne Michaels in the movie.
Yes.
So
That was a great performance.
um,
Great movie. That got like no buzz for what I was expecting from it.
yeah, the leading candidate right now that seems to be the lock to win is going to be Sebastian Stan for A Different Man. We haven't seen that movie yet because it hasn't been available to see.
Yep.
But Glenn Powell got nominated for Hitman, which is on
Hey.
Netflix. And one of Tyler's least favorite movies of the year, acting performance from that, Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness.
Oh. It wasn't least favorite of the year. It's one of the more disappointing movies of the year, though.
It's one of your least favorite movies of the year. I guess
It's one of my like it's bottom 50, I think. So
Least favorite.
well, yeah, I just once again, I'm not saying that you ran it across the coals, but you told me don't go see this movie.
I did. I said you will not like this movie,
Right.
Tim.
So the way I would hate Kinds of Kindness, you would hate Amelia Perez. Okay, we go to this. Pamela Anderson has earned her first Golden Globe nomination for The Last Showgirl. Pamela Anderson won her first major awards nomination ever for her performance as a veteran Las Vegas showgirl coping with the sudden closing of her show. She's already nominated for the Gotham Awards, and now she is really sort of barreling into awards season with a lot of hype here. And I have not seen The Last Showgirl, and I assume you have not either, Tyler. I don't think it's been available for us.
I have not. I haven't heard of that one. So that must be a limited market or something along those lines.
Yes, we will eventually maybe have a screening of it, but who knows? Sing Sing is one of your favorite movies of the year, one of. You considered it to be a 5-star movie this year,
I did.
which is very rare for you to hand out.
Mm-hmm.
And Sing Sing did not get nominated for Best Film in the Drama category, didn't get nominated in the Supporting Actor category, didn't get nominated in the Screenplay category. I could even see, well, no, Sing Sing doesn't really have any singing in it.
I was about to say maybe they should have sang and
Maybe.
pick up some of Amelia Perez's awards.
Maybe, but Coleman Domingo is what's being pushed most. He did earn a nomination for Best Actor in a Drama, but the film missed out on pretty much everything else. And this is a movie that has just its rollout has been plagued with no one caring about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
There was never a big
Yeah.
release like this is out. It
Yeah.
was like, well, this is out here, but not over here. Next week it's out here, but not over here. And it didn't feel like a true rollout.
Oh.
It felt
And
very
I think this will hurt Coleman Domingo
Mhm.
as being the film's star in the best actor race at the Oscars.
Oh yeah.
Like the fact that the film is getting so much of the air taken out of it. And if Timothy Chalamet really lives up to the billing that we're hearing in this Bob Dylan biopic, he's going to be the one to beat potentially. I think Sebastian Stan's in the conversation, but we will see what happens there with that. But Sing Sing misses out on a bunch of nominations. And then another one of your favorite movies, if not your favorite movie of the year, I'm having problems keeping up with it. Dune Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's number one.
Dune Part 2, Denis Villeneuve did not get nominated for Best Director at the Golden Globes.
This is a sham. The Golden Globe should be canceled forever. Who who who? Tell me the nominations.
Well, let me tell you this. There are 6 nominations instead of 5 for Best Director. And really, all of these have 6 nominations. So the fact that we didn't have Best Director there is kind of crazy here. Let me give you who's in the Best Director list here. We have the director for Amelia Perez, the director for Honora, Conclave, The Brutalist, The Substance, and this may be the shocking one, All We Imagine as Light, the director for that, Payal Padia. So the fact
These
that,
are movies you can't go see.
well, Hollywood Foreign Press, I'm going to say again,
Give me thought.
Hollywood Foreign Press, they have a very specific sort of taste profile here, but Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated. Will that change at the Oscars? Once again, these two are not related. Will Denis Villeneuve not get, for the second time on a Dune epic, a nomination for Best Director? I believe Josh Brolin said he'll quit acting if he doesn't get nominated. But
And I agree with Josh Brolin. If the Oscars don't even nominate
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve, then they don't stand for what they say they stand for, and it's just kind of whatever. Where we might give it to Ridley Scott because we don't know if he'll make another movie, even though this last one was bad or mediocre, and we're
Well-
just gonna ignore an epic story being created for the screen for a property that has never been properly adapted to the screen.
their counter argument is Dune Part 2 did get nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama. Didn't get nominated for Best Director. Don't know how those two things don't correlate, but that is where we're at.
Yeah, this was the best movie of the year, but the direction was awful.
I'm going to tell you
Does that
where
make sense?
I'm going to tell you where it did get nominated. I'm going to tell you another place where it surprisingly didn't. Dune Part 2 is a big story here, okay? Because Dune Part 2 came out in the early part of 2024. But everybody who saw it said, okay, this is going to be an awards contender. It should have been released in 2023 and it should have given Oppenheimer a little bit of a run. But it came out in 2024, early 2024, and I think it needs a re-release.
It does desperately.
Hans Zimmer was nominated for the film score, which you'd say like, oh, that's a no-brainer.
Well, so they made a rule, I believe, where if it's a franchise, you can't use more than 20% or something like that from the original. And since it's continuing like that same sort of theme,
Yeah.
a lot of elements are borrowed from Dune Part 1.
That is exactly correct, Tyler. You've done your homework. Dune Part 2 was ruled ineligible by the Academy Awards and the BAFTAs, which is basically the British Academy Awards, because it apparently used too much music from the first Dune movie. The Globe said, we don't care. Hans Zimmer created a masterpiece. We're going to put that on there. But how Denis Villeneuve does not get nominated continues to surprise me. And then there's the category that the Golden Globes has come up with of cinematic and box office achievement.
Oh, that's got to go to Amelia Perez, right?
No. These are movies that they can't really put nominations with anywhere else, but they're like movies where people show up and eat a bunch of popcorn. These are blockbusters, is what this is. They should have just called it the blockbuster category, cinematic and box office achievement. Dune Part 2 was kept out of that, which is surprising to me. It's very surprising to me. But Alien Romulus was in there. Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out 2, Twisters, or The Tornado Part 2, as we call it around
Tornado.
Part 2. Wicked, and then The Wild Robot. So these are all movies for cinematic and box office achievement.
Most of those don't even feel like popcorn movies.
I think it's just whatever movie grosses the highest amount of money. They're trying to bring in eyeballs for the telecast, so they're going to give it an award, even though it's a goofy
Didn't Dune
category.
Part 2 make like 700 million
It
though?
made a huge amount of
So
money.
what's excluding it?
That's the
No
thing.
one
We don't
knows.
know. We don't know why it would be excluded. Like, why is Alien Romulus in this?
Right.
Like I love Alien Romulus, my favorite movie of the year, but like financially, it didn't
No.
crush. It didn't do very well.
Deadpool Wolverine makes sense.
Deadpool and Wolverine, highest grossing movie. Yeah,
Inside
that
Out
makes
2
sense.
makes
Inside Out
sense.
2. Gladiator 2 doesn't even make sense
Yeah,
compared
that
to
didn't make any money.
Wicked's not in there?
Wicked is in
Oh.
there. But I just, you got to throw Dune in here as one of the highest grossing movies of the year and being a movie that had a lot of audience participation. And, you know, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. And this is another troubling thing. It is a movie that we are looking very forward to. Nosferatu
Mhm.
comes out, and it did not get a single nomination from anyone within the Golden Globes. And you may be saying, well, that's because it hadn't gotten wide released yet. But they've already screened the movie for critics, and
Mhm.
they've already gotten it to where people can very much see it that are in those circles to start getting that word of mouth started with the critical aspect. And it's been praised across the board so far. And it didn't get a single nomination, which is shocking to me because you would think the Golden Globes,
Not after what you've told me about
Well-
the Golden Globes today.
and for Best Director, John
Robert
Chu
Eggers.
did not get a nomination,
Whoa.
which once again is the director of Wicked, and he looks to be like one of the front runners to get a nomination at the Academy Awards. So John Chu not getting nominated for Wicked was also kind of a surprise. But here's another one. You ready? For Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, because they give out two Best Pictures. They give one that's Best Drama, one that's Best Musical or Comedy. Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, they've got The Substance in there, which I'm not sure.
What movies are they watching?
I'm not sure it's a comedy, right? Maybe it's a dark. That one may be a dark comedy. Like, if there's irony in there, it's definitely not a musical. But like a complete unknown, which is a musical biopic,
Yes.
it is not in the musical category. It's in the it's in the drama category, which you would think would be a lock for the musical category, but it actually hurts its chances, a complete unknown, that it's there in the drama category. It really makes no sense. And the more you try to wrap your head around it,
This seems just like a giant scam to put on a TV show.
it is.
Like none of this is real. We're not even gonna call movies
It is.
brought by the proper genre anymore. Yeah, let's put Cronenberg horror movie in the musical category.
Yeah.
Because why not?
You are completely correct. I'm sorry to have to unveil that the Golden Globes is a complete sham to you, but what I want you to do is take the same energy you got right now, and I want you to watch the telecast, and we're going to talk about it the next day, okay? So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right.
But the awards acceptance speeches, the different interactions you get, the hosting, it's always going to be a topic of conversation. The Golden Globes is a fun party, but it's a horrible award show.
I'm intrigued.
So we're going to watch it and give you our review after it comes out here in the first of the year. So, with all that being said, it is now time for one of our favorite new segments here on Meltdown 2.0, and that is Fine Tuned Fortune.
We need a jingle.
Today we are doing 3 Fine Tuned Fortunes, one for me, one for EG, one for Tyler. But I have this neat bar trick where I can tell you who a fortune cookie is for before it is read. Now, Tyler, did anything amazing happen to you yesterday on Sunday?
I saw werewolves.
Yeah.
Then that is the answer.
Gave us the professional opportunity to review it today.
Right.
Oh boy, oh boy.
What if your fortune says moon screen is in your future? What if it says that? But it's a deep cut for those who.
Hey, you know what's unique?
I would have rather watched Moonfall.
Wait, why is it a deep
It
cut?
says Moonfall meets the Purge. But
Why
anyway,
is it a deep cut?
because no one knows what werewolves is really.
These are
Because
made
werewolves have big claws.
in Stone Mountain, Georgia, which is like near Atlanta.
Oh,
That's I
well,
thought these.
It's gonna be the end of this segment. I'm just kidding.
Why?
Because I don't like Atlanta
All right.
or anything from Atlanta.
Well, their
or
phone.
anybody from Atlanta.
I think we should call them and get it sponsored because they include their phone number on here
Okay. Hey, can you send us a shipment of fortune cookies?
for fine
We
tune.
do need like a big box of
We
fortune
do.
cookies. Like, we need to just take the plunge.
Yeah.
Can you buy fortune cookies in bulk at any of
Well,
these
I'm
stores?
gonna ask
Sure you can.
Dicing
I'm
Corp,
sure you can.
dicingnoodle@gmail.com, 770-938-69.
You're doxing the fortune cookie maker?
Don't.
Why am I doxing
You're not
them?
doxing them. I'm
just
saying,
joking around with you.
what I'm saying is, use your talents,
To get us a fortune cookie
reach out,
sponsor.
and get us at least a box of fortune
I
cookies
can
that
work
we
on
can
that.
promote.
Okay.
Okay, with that being said, I need you to hold all three out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you the one in your right hand. That one, that's Tyler's. And we're
Oh.
going to start.
Oh,
with,
wait, no, I
we're going
open.
to start with that one. You open. Try not to infect the cookie though, because this is going to. Tyler's going to have to eat some of the cookie in order.
I'm trying to extract the
Isn't it bad
fortune.
luck to read the fortune without breaking the cookie?
Okay.
Is that a thing?
Well,
Break
then
the
I'm
cookie.
doing it
It
sanitary.
is
Yeah.
now.
Oh, I tore the fortune.
Take your time, EG. Okay, this is for Tyler. Does it fit for Tyler?
You'll accomplish more if you stay focused.
Mm,
Mm,
we'll see. We'll see what
We'll
the other
see.
ones are
We'll
if I
see.
missed on that one. I don't think I did, but I think what it's telling you to do is watch Amelia Perez.
I think it is
that's
too.
what
I
it's
think
telling
that
you to do.
is, you need to funnel that into.
We need some sort of bet where it's like the loser, I have to either watch the second half of Amelia Perez
Or
or
he has to watch
the
it.
first half of Amelia Perez.
I agree.
Okay, so the one closest to you is mine, and I was going to say it's mine because that one literally jumped at you, and I don't even know how that happened. So save yours for last.
Okay.
Wait.
Wait, no, sorry.
You don't know how the segment works, EG?
I'm just kidding. I'm excited.
You read all the fortunes.
Okay.
And you don't have to take your time with this one. Just crush it, whatever you got to do.
That was a bad cookie.
It was a bad cookie.
Oh yeah, that
No.
was a rancid cookie.
I mean, it was a little overcooked, you could say. Your lost item.
Hold on. We just gave all the information out of the cookie maker, and then now you're giving your review. All right.
Well, this one is a little like lighter in color, and Tyler's is a little.
Yeah, mine was pretty dark.
Tyler calls out sick tomorrow.
Do you have anything missing?
My hair.
If the computer
No.
cornbread didn't kill me.
Something physical?
I don't know.
Well, your lost item will be found next week.
My lost item will be found next week. What am I missing? What did I
Maybe you don't
forget?
need to know what you're missing.
My gosh, thank you very much. Okay, my lost item will be found next week.
All right, here we go.
This one is definitely EG's.
I feel very strongly about it too. The next few days are a lucky time for you. You can take a chance.
So, buy me some lottery tickets.
I guess so.
We all getting some, split it.
Sounds
split
good
the
to me.
winnings. Yeah.
We'll work it out as long as one of us hits. That's all I care about.
The next few days are a lucky time for you. You can take a chance. We'll
Okay.
see.
I don't know what that entails, but I'm very excited to see where all of our fortunes lead us because I'm going to end up with something back in my life that
You
has been
are.
missing. So we shall see. That's going to do it for us here on The Meltdown. Once again, ton of reviews coming out for you. This week, we will have a review for Clint Eastwood's latest Juror number 2, which has been absolutely held back in its distribution cycle by Warner Brothers. Makes no sense to any of us. Juror number 2, we'll have our review of that. Werewolves, which we both got a chance to see over the course of the weekend, which I think is the most fun you can have in a horrible movie this year. And who knows what we end up with Screen Unseen tonight and all the different content that's headed your way. Jim Dunaway shows up tomorrow, hopefully, here to the program at 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. We hope to have you here as well on The Meltdown. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button.